They thought the fire was cursed. They were wrong. Curses imply accident. What remained was intentional. The plantation was renamed within a year. New owners always rename places soaked in blood. It makes them feel clean. Sugar yields returned. Cane fields grew back thick and green, fed by soil that remembered bones. Ledgers balanced again. Ships came and went. Life, to the outside world, continued. But the furnace never cooled. Workers swore it radiated warmth even after rainstorms, even when emptied, even when sealed with brick. At dawn, ash appeared on the ground like fresh snowfall, though no one had lit a flame. At night, the air around it shimmered, bending shadows into shapes that did not belong to men. Those who worked closest began to change. A man named Tomas stopped sleeping. He claimed the furnace whispered in Spanish first, then in languages he did not know but somehow understood. Another worker, Isabella, said the iron door bled rust that looked too dark to be metal. She quit after seeing fingerprints burned into the inside wall, 14 of them, each one clawed deep as if the iron had been soft as flesh. The overseer dismissed it all as superstition. Superstition is what men call truth when it frightens them. Then the names began. Spoken softly, just before dawn. Always 14. Always the same. The men whose bodies had fed the fire. The names were not shouted. They were recited slowly, patiently, like a ledger being read aloud. One name per breath. Those who heard the list never stayed long. Some fled. Some drank themselves silent. A few were found standing before the furnace at night, unmoving, eyes glassy, lips burned raw, as if they had been whispering back. No one touched the furnace after that. So it waited. Decades passed, empires shifted, flags changed, chains loosened, then broke. Laws were written that pretended to undo centuries of cruelty. The plantation rotted, abandoned to vines and insects and memory. Roofs collapsed, cane fields turned to jungle, but the furnace remained. Iron endures. In the nearby villages, stories changed shape as all legends do. Esperanza was no longer just a woman. She became La Guardiana del Fuego, the Ash Mother, the silent judge. Children were warned that if they lied, the fire would learn their name. If men raised their hands in anger, the furnace would remember the weight of their sins. Travelers avoided the ruins. Animals refused to cross the boundary where the furnace stood. Birds veered away mid-flight. Dogs whimpered and dug their claws into dirt. Even insects avoided the place, leaving it unnaturally still, an island of silence surrounded by life. In the late 1800s, a scholar came. He was not cruel, not overtly. He believed cruelty was a flaw of the uneducated. He came with notebooks and measuring tools, convinced the furnace's heat could be explained by trapped gases, by chemical reactions, by science. Science has always struggled with guilt. He camped beside the ruins, recorded temperatures, sketched symbols carved into the iron symbols. No one remembered etching. At night, he heard breathing that did not match his own. When he awoke, ash coated his hands. On the 7th night, he dreamed of fire that did not burn skin but stripped lies away layer by layer. He saw 14 men screaming not from pain, but from recognition. He woke sobbing, clutching his chest. The names burned into his mind like brands. He left before sunrise. His final notes ended with a sentence he never explained. Justice does not fade, it waits. The furnace waited too. When factories came, investors surveyed the land. Machines rolled in. Progress arrived with its own hunger. They planned to melt the old iron down, reuse it, profit from history. The first cutting torch failed. The second exploded. The third worker screamed as the metal beneath his hands turned red-hot without warning. He survived, but every scar on his body formed the shape of chains. The project was abandoned. During wars, refugees passed near the ruins. Some claimed the furnace glowed brighter during times of mass death, as if it were listening to the world and recognizing a familiar sound. Soldiers who camped nearby reported dreams of being judged by a woman who never spoke, only watched, eyes reflecting flame. By the 20th century, the story had spread far beyond the island. Esperanza became a symbol whispered among the oppressed, a reminder that suffering was not invisible, that memory could be weaponized, that even when justice fails in courts, something older keeps score. Artists painted her without knowing her face. Always fire behind her, always silence in her mouth. Songs were sung that ended abruptly, cutting off before the final verse, as if finishing it would invite something to listen. And then, the world modernized. Tourists came, cameras clicked, influencers smiled beside rusted ruins, unaware of where they stood. Most felt nothing. The furnace does not speak.